Anyway, yeah. So, Type Men podcast again, yeah?
Hello.
Back again.
Hi, it's Nav.
It's Shane.
Michael.
And Ed again, yeah. So, yeah, go on, Nav. Take
All
it
right.
away.
Yeah, so I want to talk about body issues. So, as we all know, and our fans have noticed, Mike likes to drop in every episode that he goes to the gym. Respect. You are looking jacked, but I mean, it got me thinking on the other end of the spectrum, and it's like there was this magazine cover that I saw, and there was this overweight woman on it, and like the general tone of the article was like, how great this is, and is it great though?
Yeah, this is actually a tough topic to speak about because for me, promoting any sort of body shape or promoting anything is going to be perceived quite differently to different people. But if we have the argument that putting skinny women on magazines is making young women body conscious and trying to aspire to that, isn't putting fat women or overweight women on a cover doing exactly the same thing to young people?
But that's it then, yeah, exactly. So is that magazine saying, yeah, it's okay to be overweight?
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the issue. I mean, when you look at kids nowadays and stuff like that, you hear a lot about. So I know a lot of people work in the NHS and stuff like that, and they do say a lot of the issues that come about is because people are overweight.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the doctors and all that say, look, if you just lost a bit of weight, you would actually be better. So, is it wrong for this magazine to do that, or is it a good thing? Are we saying that people who suffer with, not say suffer necessarily, but who are overweight and have issues with that, it's also not nice to be mean to them. So it's kind of like, well, what should magazines be doing?
I think it relies. It sort of depends on how it's spun, because if you're glamorizing being overweight,
right. I think it was actually Glamour magazine.
Right. See, there you go.
Yeah.
If you're glamorizing it, I think that's the wrong thing to do, because obviously you're saying like this is okay. This is what you should be aspiring to, or this is what you should be looking to achieve in your own body shape.
Yeah.
Which is wrong. So it depends on how it's spun. I mean, glamorizing being overweight. I mean, just putting an overweight woman on the front cover of something for an article that's independent of being overweight is fine.
Yeah, that's nothing to do
that's
with it.
Fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I mean, if the reason she's on there is to glamorize the fact that she is overweight, then for me, it has the same connotations of putting a skinny woman and glamorizing the fact that she's skinny. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, everyone, I'm going to speak now.
Yay.
I'm just saying, like, do you think it's only a women's issue? Because I got 2 points, but that one first. Just Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. I'm sure we've all seen highlights of it and now by Lise.
Mm-hmm.
Like Andy Ruiz, like I think a lot of people are like ripping Joshua because look at Joshua, look at Andy Ruiz. Ruiz doesn't look like the epitome of health, does he?
Yeah.
He's like looks a bit out of shape, whatever. But look at his skills. And I think Teddy Atlas, I think he's a famous a former trainer. Is like quite big in the boxing game. He was saying this loss has put like health back 20 years. Essentially,
but see, I don't know,
because Joshua was an example. As in you work hard. It showed on his body you worked hard, and then he was getting the results by being the world champion.
I understand your point, but I don't think that he's on the front cover for his weight. He's on the front cover for his boxing, which is different.
But Joshua, you mean?
Joshua might be on for his
he was on GQ actually.
Andy Ruiz would be on there for his boxing skills, so they're not glamorising the way that he looks.
Yeah, because Joshua's been in Men's Health magazines and stuff like that.
The point is that Joshua's the health the obvious health that Joshua had through hard work was a seen as a factor in his success.
Oh right. Okay.
And then Ruiz comes along, who obviously hasn't been living that life, has basically bust him up. So it's kind of like.
Do you know, Ed? I think it's slightly different. I might be wrong on this, but I heard that Ruiz actually does do a lot of training.
I know he does. It's just like.
I think it's just it's more of a genetic kind of thing, which I think you got that slightly different thing, because I don't fully understand obesity, for example, but there is an argument to be made that is actually a problem genetically, as opposed to just eating loads.
But then that kind of seems, when
it's like your body
with the body, the issue you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
It's a lot of what the arguments is that you can be big and healthy.
Yeah.
So but then most of the experts counteract that, saying no, just having a bit of fat increases your rate of diabetes,
heart attacks
by so many percentage.
For instance,
Ruiz looks like a big guy who's healthy. So
that's a fair point. Yeah.
But to be quite honest, the whole genetic thing, and whether it is genetic or whether it's due to lifestyle, I think it's a bit of both. I think some people are just overweight because their lifestyle's not great. But for instance, there's this woman that goes to my gym, and like I go on the treadmill for about an hour when I go to the gym. She's on the treadmill before I get there, and she is huge.
Yeah.
And she will do longer than me, and she'll start doing side steps and like really running at it. And like, I've never seen someone work out so hard, but she's big.
Yeah.
How long
And I
has
just-
she been there for, though? How long you been noticing?
Well, I know for a fact that she's fit because of how long and how fast she's on that treadmill for an hour.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
it gets to the point where I'm thinking to myself, you're not going to lose anything, love. You're just you're obviously fit because you can do that for an hour.
Yeah.
And she's doing sides, like I've never seen anyone do that on a treadmill. Like move from the running position to the side step position,
Right.
sidestepping, jumping over to the other side, sidestepping.
Yeah.
She's doing this for an hour.
Well,
And she doesn't look like she's losing anything. So in those instances, I think that's just her body shape. I don't think that she can do much more than that because she's not going to lose it.
I think it's hard to tell though, isn't it?
And it's hard to tell.
That's where
Yeah.
the difficulty lies. Is like,
And the arguments against like having overweight people on health magazines or glamour magazines is that it's not healthy. But then say Ruiz as an example, and the example you just put kind of maybe shows that.
Yeah, but there's wider there's wider issues to just being, like being overweight, being obese is puts a strain on your organs, puts a strain on your heart, and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's not necessarily about just being healthy, but it's the strain that it puts on your body as well. Because you can imagine this woman on the treadmill, her heart is probably beating 3 times as fast as Shane's is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, Nat Ruiz is obviously a talented boxer.
Yeah.
He's a good boxer. There was Butterbean as well.
Oh, yeah.
Many years ago, he was quite a big guy.
yeah,
I don't necessarily know whether he was a good boxer or not. I don't know.
He-
But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because on one side of it, you're promoting, potentially promoting anorexia and things like that with young women, and then on the other side of it, you're promoting obesity within young women. So I don't know.
You know what I mean? In the
Where's
middle,
the middle
yeah.
ground?
I think exactly. I don't know the differences between the two, and I don't know if it's anorexia though that they would promote on the flip side though. They look thin, but are they anorexic? I mean,
No, they're the models themselves are probably not anorexic,
Right.
but you get the young women who will go and eat dinner and then make themselves
Throw up,
sick
yeah.
just because they want to be that shape of whoever on the front of the latest fashion magazine or whatever. And I suppose realistically, it's a lot more hard work than just eating a bit, to actually get to that. I mean, Anthony Joshua, you reckon it's probably taken him a good 3-4 years to get to the body shape that he is now.
Yeah,
Because he's huge, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ripped up, and he's probably, what's he, about 6'4"?
Yeah,
He's massive.
yeah.
So, I mean, that sort of thing doesn't happen overnight.
See, I think it's a difficult one because I think you have to change how people are taking in the information, kids in particular, because you can't say we're never going to put any fat people on, we're never going to put any skinny people on the front of magazines, because otherwise you'd have no one on the front of magazines. But at the same time, maybe it is about educating the young people to not perceive that as something they should be aspiring to in terms of body shape.
I think that's where I was
Promoting
coming
good
from.
health, yeah. Promoting good health, but like not saying that you need to look like this person, or you should look like this person, or you shouldn't look like this person. Just sort of like promoting good health rather than saying that you have to look like something.
Because that's what Glamour magazine is, though, isn't it? It's the same.
It's about
It's like,
about
isn't
looking
it?
like,
Exactly, looking like that person on the cover. And I think that was my issue with it. I was just like, well, do you want people to look like that?
Yeah.
Are you giving that message? And I was trying to understand where they're coming from as well. Like, what do they think by doing that? Are they sort of saying, "Oh, we're going to appeal to more people," or
it's body positivity though? Isn't it? It's kind of like, for me, it's like my understanding of it, like history of body positivity. I suppose obviously people who are overweight, like whatever. I suppose if they like in the media, in life, they're getting like ripped, they're getting insulted, whatever, for looking the way they are. And I suppose it could lead to mental health issues like suicide, so on and so forth. So body positivity, from my understanding, was a way to counteract that. Like, in the sense that it's okay to look how you are. It's not bad. Like, and just feel good being how you are. But then maybe the next level of that was people saying, actually, it's healthy for me. I could be healthy doing this as well. Which, like, all the experts seem to say that that's not true, or at least like your risk. I suppose you can box, you can run rings around a treadmill, whatever.
Yeah.
But as Michael's saying, your heart is probably working harder to achieve that than someone who has a typical healthy.
But also on the flip side, I have never I'm 32 now, and I have never ever until probably the last 6 months actually changed my diet and started eating healthy, which is what I do. I know I still smoke, but I don't drink that much. And I've started it. When I was in the army, I was probably at my physical peak for about 5 years of me being in the army, whereas I could go and run 9 miles, no problem whatsoever, at various speeds and hills and whatever else. I could do that. But then I would go and eat at McDonald's. Like every day of the week, I'd have McDonald's. But I never gained an ounce of weight for years.
Really, yeah.
Pretty much and that's no. I'm not exaggerating. I'm being deadly serious. So when we was in the barracks at Knightsbridge, we would have the 3 meals that it was army, but it was paid for anyway. It comes out your wages. So your 3 meals a day, and then about 8 o'clock you'd skip across the road at Knightsbridge to McDonald's and go and get like 2 double cheeseburgers and that was every
But maybe
day.
it's the exercise then. I think
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
You can do that.
You can,
Like,
because you did the exercise.
There
Yeah.
The
has
point
to be
I'm
a
making
balance.
is my insides were not healthy.
Yeah.
No,
there must be.
I
don't agree.
My organs
I don't agree.
wouldn't be in a healthy
I
state.
think it's a balance.
Yeah.
If you're going to eat unhealthily, as long as you put in the work on the other side,
Exactly,
it
yeah.
balances it out.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what a
but you
balanced
take into
lifestyle
account that I
is.
smoked and I drank a lot as
Yeah.
well. Like for army life, you go out and you drink a lot. But my inside, the big girl you're talking about in the gym,
Yeah.
her insides, she might eat well, but because she's so big, her organs will be under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Now, my organs were probably not under that much stress, but they probably weren't in good nick because of what I was putting into my body at the same time.
But that's what a balanced lifestyle is. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
think of it as scales, if you put more on one side, you have to put more on the other side to balance it. That's what being balanced is about. So I mean, you could eat really unhealthily, but as long as you're putting the work on the other side of the scale, you'll have a balanced lifestyle. You'll have a balanced.
And the funny thing is, like, since I've been going to the gym, as Nav rightly pointed out,
It's a gym, might do.
yeah, I do, yeah. A couple of times a week, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's a hobby. But since I've been doing that and eating properly, I eat more now than I ever did, and yet I lose weight and tone up and whatever else.
Because you're eating the correct
Because you're
things,
eating
yeah,
the
yeah.
correct things, protein and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I eat more now than I think I ever have done. I have 4 meals a day.
What are the meals like in the army? Like, by the way,
Yeah,
would you say they were healthy compared to?
Well, not really. It's all like carb heavy because you're doing so much exercise.
Okay.
That's what it is. So it will all be, but it was just like normal.
chips and burger and stuff.
Yeah, like
that.
nothing special. But it was all carb heavy, just for the energy side of it to give you,
Okay.
They say actually marathon runners before the night they have so much pasta and stuff, a lot of
Yeah,
carbs
yeah.
just to build up on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because it's the carbs that you burn. See, this is why all these myths, no carbs before Marbs, all those dickheads on The Only Way is Essex,
no carbs
all that
before
shit. Marbs, Marbella, but it's like this one thing that went round because it was like no carb. Oh no, we can't eat carbs. You can't have potatoes. You can't have this and that. But you're taking all your energy out of your food
exactly.
by not eating carbs. But I don't know. It's just another one of these silly myths, isn't it, that goes round?
No, and I think that's a good point as well. The amount of diets they are, and then it's become sort of fashionable to be on a diet and stuff like that, and you kind of lose sight of, well, just be healthy,
Yeah.
like you said, it's a balance, and it's like, yeah, you can eat, but then make sure you exercise, and
Exactly.
then you get that balance. And I think there's a lot of, I think it's just a culture of wanting things quickly. Like there's no work ethic. It's kind of just like, what's that get rich quick scheme? I'm not talking about money, but like just get you lose weight by just not eating bread or whatever. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. And what it actually does is it actually just puts you in a full sense of security. Because when you lose that weight and then you come off the diet,
back
it's
to
just going
eating
to go
normally.
right back
Exactly.
up
Yeah,
again.
Yeah.
it's like those things you can pay. What is it, like £120 a week or whatever, and you get the meals. You get 3 meals delivered to your house, which is fine because you eat all that and you shred all this weight and you look really good. And as soon as you come off that and go
Yeah,
back
it
to
goes
eating
right
normal,
back up.
you just get all your weight back straight away. I mean, loads of people in the army done it.
Okay.
They done that thing where they would get the meals delivered once a week, and it would be your set meals for every day, and they lost loads of weight and then as soon as they stopped and they just went back to eating, fish and chips 12 nights.
That's why diets
Like,
shouldn't.
yes,
you shouldn't
that's-
go on a diet to lose weight. You should be going on a diet for a balanced lifestyle because if you go on a diet, it shouldn't be you should never be coming off that diet. That should be your diet. So you shouldn't be going on a diet to lose weight. You should be going on a diet which is going to be your diet going forward forever. And then you balance that out with your exercise. Because if you're basically starving the body of a particular thing to lose weight, as soon as you put that thing back in, you'll balloon. So you shouldn't be taking anything out of your diet. You should just be having a balanced diet where you're reducing whatever you're eating too much of to a level that's sustainable for the long term. Not just, I'm going to get rid of that, get really skinny, and then introduce it back in. Because it doesn't work. Your body doesn't work like that.
I remember a couple of years ago, Charlie decided she was going to do this fad, and it's called the Swedish hospital diet, whether anyone's heard of it. I don't know. So anyway, and it's really brutal. So like for instance, one day she'd wake up and have a black coffee in the morning, and that was it. And then for lunch, she would eat a whole pack of ham and an entire lettuce, and that's it.
Oh,
right. And then for dinner, she would eat a whole block of cheese and something else, but she would never have a full meal. And you're supposed to only do it for health reasons for 2 weeks, right? But apparently it's for
because there's no carbs in there.
It's for obese people that are going in for surgery, and they do it in Sweden, and so they have to drop all this weight so they can be whatever. So and there's loads of celebrities started doing it. So she got to the end of week 1. I remember it. And she got to the end of week 1, and we was out somewhere, I can't remember, during the day, and I actually thought she was going to die.
Oh.
Like, I thought she was going to die. She went grey, like lightheaded. She thought she was going to... I said, fuck this shit. We're going to get something to eat. So I went and got her 2 plates of scrambled egg on toast. I said, you fucking eat that now. And that's it. You're putting it to bed. You're not doing it
again. It's because there's a lack of carbs in that diet.
It was ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Did she lose any weight or at all?
Yes, she did. Yeah, but I said to her, what cost?
Exactly.
Like, I thought you was actually going to keel over in the middle of Wimbledon, and that would be it.
Yeah,
like,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
So it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
it's
she started playing squash with me.
Okay, yeah.
And she quite enjoys it.
Maybe she wasn't doing so much exercise.
She's
before.
quite. I mean, as you all know, Charlie. She's very competitive. So you can imagine a squash court.
Okay.
With Charlie throwing her weight around, barging. Yeah, it's quite fun. You should come and play her, Ed. Come and play her at squash.
All right. I've never played before, but yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I'm a tennis guy.
She'll eat you up and spit you out, mate.
All right. Yeah. It's gonna make a joke, but yeah.
No innuendo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's those sorts of fits. See, that's where it gets silly, and that's where these girls, the really slim girls, Vogue magazine and all that sort of stuff, it promotes women to do that sort of thing, this Swedish hospital diet and all these other, what's the new one, keto diet.
Someone at my work was doing.
But then, so Mike, is it a good thing then to have a sort of more of an overweight woman? Because your example's on the flip side. So say this woman, then does it make people just eat, be healthier? Not healthier, sorry, just eat more. It's on the other side, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that. No, I would say that they should be promoting, like you said, a healthy lifestyle where with eating. It's like I said to you, I eat 4 meals a day.
Yeah.
And you would naturally assume if you're eating 4 meals a day that you're going to put weight on. But if you're balancing that, like you said, with exercise, well, you don't. It's all going in the right place and everything's. That's what they should be promoting.
But another thing about, just to bring it back to the diets real quick, another thing is that keto diet that you were talking about, I'm pretty sure that was designed for people with epilepsy. And this is what happens. People take these things that are designed for people with medical conditions.
What is it, to regulate your sugar intake?
I think it's meant to. I think the whole purpose of it is to stop them from having so many epileptic fits, based on diet. But this is what people do: is they take things that are like that Swedish hospital diet. They're taking things that are meant for people that are ill
out of context,
and thinking, I'm going to apply that to myself, who's got nothing wrong with me, to lose weight. And then of course that's going to cause problems because these people have medical conditions that the diets are designed for. And I think that's another thing that's wrong, is you shouldn't be taking a diet out of context just because it allows you to lose weight. These things are designed for people with medical issues, and they would have seen dietitians who designed these things for particular people, not just it's a general diet that everyone in the general public can use to lose weight, because that's ridiculous.
So the only other point I wanted to make was even though I brought this topic here, I was thinking, are we just blowing it out of proportion? In the sense that, do we really think that someone looking at that magazine will then just start eating more. You know what I mean? Are we that sort of sensitive as a society?
I think some people are, you know. It's like I've seen
there are a lot of people.
I've seen it about Love Island. I think I don't even like just stuff going on in that, and people like, is this right? Is this right for people to? And it's like, who watches that and thinks I should be like? I can't even think. Who watches like something on TV like a Love Island reality TV show and then thinks, This is how I should be acting. Like,
the scary truth is that there's a lot of dickheads that do.
Yeah,
and that's the concern, isn't it?
There are a
do you know
lot
what
of
it is?
people that do.
It's that snowflake generation thing again, isn't
easily
it? Easily
influence people.
I have to do everything that everyone else is
easily
doing.
influence, and that's what it is.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
But snowflake generation gives the impression that it's a generational thing. But is it like there's?
I think it is.
It's got to be a generation. We never watched
weren't
TV.
like that.
We didn't watch TV and think that's how I've got.
But wasn't there like surely there's like easily influenced people. There's always been.
Yeah, of course, through history, yes. But you have to say that as it stands at the moment, this particular generation of teenagers, it's probably like in the,
and
because there's so much content,
they are
is the media.
particularly easily influenced.
The reason it is because when the age of the media was before, it wasn't the age of the media, so you didn't have all of this. Well, media in general, television. We weren't when other, like, say for instance in the 80s and the 70s, television wasn't as popular. I mean, television was there, but it's not. People aren't watching as much as they are now.
Agree.
Consuming media wasn't as it was the media content wasn't there.
Big
but
shows
now
in the 70s and 80s used to get like millions more viewers than they do now. It's just that I think it's more.
But that's
diverse,
only because of on demand. It's only because of on demand viewing.
No, I'm talking about in the 70s and 80s, say like Morecambe and Wise or something like that. Those.
But again, you have to look at it in context.
Yeah, but they're like comedy shows.
Hang on, you have to look at it
just to counter the point. That TV
yeah, but you
wasn't
have to
as
look
popular,
at it in context. Like, we've got so much more on now, so your viewership will be spread amongst much more things.
No, yeah, but that
Whereas
doesn't mean it wasn't as popular. It's just that there's more diversity. And
well, it wasn't as popular. Not every household had a TV. Where pretty much now every household has a TV. Back in the 80s, we didn't have a TV for years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but not everyone. And
I mean,
a lot of people went out.
Exactly.
Didn't they? Like, even my nan says that they barely had any money, but they was out every Friday and Saturday in the social club
TV
or
channels,
whatever.
TV channels used to switch off after a certain time. After 11 o'clock, there was no more of that channel. It doesn't happen now. It's 24-hour viewing. So the available media is so much more than it was before, that because it's just there and readily available and people are consuming it, people are more influenced by it than they were back then because it's in their faces 24/7. You've got social media, you've got TV, you've got on-demand viewing, you've got all of this stuff that's there, radio, everything's there all the time.
The Type Men UK podcast.
The Type Men UK podcast. So I think it's because of the exposure to all these different media outlets and these media types that people are taking more notice of it because it's becoming a much bigger part of their lives, so they're easily influenced because it's in their face constantly.
But say for our parents' generation, maybe what you were saying about us, what Michael said as well, going out more and so on, that's brilliant. But for us, we had 24-hour TV, we had cable, we had satellite, we had a lot we didn't have social media.
We didn't have social media, we didn't have any of that. Yeah.
We were barely indoors.
And we were, exactly.
Let's be honest,
we used to go out all the time.
We were barely indoors. When we were kids.
Causing trouble.
No, not even.
I'm like, yeah,
Edward,
I'm saying have a smile.
We used to play out. No one
we
plays
were always
out.
out.
Yeah, but no one does that anymore.
Let me give you a prime example, right? It was it Tuesday or whatever day it was last week, right? I come home from work and Charlie was working late. So Sean was there, Sean come home from school, and Charlie's dad phoned Sean to say, I'm coming round on the bike, we'll go out for a cycle, we'll go and do some cricket practice or whatever. And Sean's immediate response was, nah, I just want to chill in. Fine, okay.
Play PlayStation or something.
Right,
yeah.
So then Rod, Charlie's dad's turned up and whatever. And I said, oh, so, because Charlie had already said to me, my dad's coming to get Sean, they're going to go and whatever. Sean's come in, and I said, oh, where are you going with Grandad? Oh, I don't know, yeah, I just feel like chilling in. I said, right, well, let me tell you two things right now. Number one, you're not watching YouTube, and number two, you're not playing PlayStation. And all of a sudden, oh, yeah, well, I suppose we could go out on the bike, or, we could do that straight away, because I know exactly what he wants to do. He wants to come home and he wants to play Rocket League or Fortnite, and he wants to, I'm not having none of that shit. No,
but that's the point. I mean,
and I said to him, when I was a kid, do you think my mum and dad had to bully me out of the house?
No, we were out all the time.
To stay in,
But we were out all the time. But that's the point, though. I mean, it's you never heard of these people who had all these body dysmorphia conditions and all of this stuff back in the 80s. These things never existed. They're relatively. I'm not saying there was no cases, but these things weren't like
widespread.
Yeah, and now I think it's because of the fact that people are so exposed to media that it does create this certain image in their heads of how they should be or how they should be acting or how they should be looking. And I think that's a part of the problem. The problem is the exposure to the media.
I also think, Shane, it might be jobs as well. Like, if I look at my job, I just sit at a desk. And a lot of the jobs now, I think about my dad, he was in a factory. When I go in, yeah. But, God, come on, guys.
So you think, okay, I can see.
No, but I think a lot of the jobs nowadays are like, sitting down and computers and
as we
driving trains,
you're
sitting down.
More of a service industry, less of a I think manufacturing industry.
I think the work plays into that aspect too, because it's just you're just not active. You're sitting down, and then it does go on your mind, and then you're just shattered by the end of the day because of your brain, not because of your body.
That's true. Like if I'm on earlies, for instance, I struggle really badly with finishing an early shift and going to the gym, for instance.
Still do it though, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes. But I'm more liable to blow out going to the gym on an early shift than I am on lates. So I would get up in the morning whenever I get up and have breakfast and then that's fine, and then go to work, and that's fine. But on earlies, I'm more liable to not want to go and to just not go.
Makes sense.
It's because it's easier at the beginning of your day.
And because you've had your work day and whatever else and. But I think this generation is very easily swayed.
I think
they
are.
Very
I don't know if they're any easily. I don't think it's any easier. I just think there's more opportunity for them to be.
That's
swayed.
kind of my point. Is it like somehow this generation popped out and they're like weak-willed, weak-minded?
No.
I
think the opportunity to sway them is just greater.
The growth of social media, and the variety of choices has made people.
I don't think so.
So there's a discipline in what
we had loads of opportunities to be swayed.
That was my point. Like, it's not like we didn't have PlayStations.
Let's think. Yeah, but we did though.
Yeah, no, that's the point. It's not like we didn't.
So, and you think of the games that we had. We had games like Resident Evil and Grand Theft Auto when it originally first came out, and all games like that. But we've not been swayed.
Yeah, that was my point earlier.
No, but see again, that's not. I'm not saying.
And now everything's blamed on the games.
No, I'm not saying. That's not my point. My point is that the opportunity to sway someone is increased. So we may not have been swayed by the games or by TV, but we didn't have on-demand YouTube. We didn't have on-demand Netflix. We didn't have these things. So the opportunity is increased to sway them. It's like one of these things. Like for instance, if I had an argument to tell someone. Right, and they didn't see my side of the argument, and then Nav comes along 10 minutes later and says the same argument, and they didn't see the argument. Then someone else comes along 10 minutes later and makes the same argument. That person's going to be all right. Maybe this is true. Whereas we didn't. It's increasing the opportunity to be influenced. It's not any more powerful, the influence. It's just increasing the opportunity.
Do you think it's a bit of both? Do you think maybe that generation is slightly weaker-willed, and the opportunity to be swayed is a lot higher?
I don't know if it's I don't think they're weaker-willed.
I
just think
threshold, and then it just.
Maybe there is a balance. Maybe there is a balance, but I don't think they're not genetically different. Maybe it's. I don't think it's that. I just think the opportunity's increased, and I think if you hear something enough, it becomes true. Whereas we just didn't hear it enough. We had games, we had TV, but we didn't have it, and we didn't have it at the length that they have it today. I mean, I didn't have my daughter. I didn't have a bloody tablet sitting there I didn't have those things, so there wasn't the opportunity to influence me at that point. The only influence I could have potentially got was from my friends, TV, and games. Maybe the internet slightly, but not really, because the internet, what was available on the internet wasn't at the level as what's available on the internet now.
And it took 20 minutes to get anything.
And it took 20 minutes to get anything up. So,
Probably going to wrap this topic up, but I just want to say, isn't it a bit sad that we're talking about in our day we didn't have this? Like, I don't feel like I'm that old, but I guess
you look that old.
We're always 19 in our heads. We're always 19 in our heads.
Right, Mike. So yeah, you're good. Again, Tommy Robinson, you can't use that anyway.
Yeah.
So my next point is, you actually going to go into work this week now?
Why, guys? Yes, I am. Right, tomorrow, fine early.
Just wanted to make sure.
I'll send you a picture out of my desk. Right. I'll be like, yeah, hey guys, I'm here.
Yeah, social media sensation. Yeah. Right, yeah.
Cool.
The,
Yeah. That was
the
good.
next topic. I just like, I don't know, like before you start the next topic now.
Okay.
Yeah, like how many stags have you guys been on? Just wondering. Like
Probably
I've only been on
4,
about
5,
3.
or something like that.
I
Maybe
think I've been
5.
on like 6. I'm going on.
I've been on
7.
about 3. Yeah, not
I'm
many.
feeling like a stag veteran now, man. It's like,
Yeah.
I've got like one in Budapest in a couple months, and I've already got one like Bratislava next year, which is gonna be that one's gonna be like.
That's where Hostel was, yeah.
Or was that what the film? I haven't seen it
Yeah.
actually.
Wasn't it in
Don't watch
Amsterdam?
it before you go. No, it's Bratislava.
Yeah, that was
Was it?
scary
Yeah,
shit.
it was. Yeah, don't watch that before you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
It
a
was
disturbing
Bratislava,
shit.
yeah.
Okay. That's gonna be like 40 plus people, I think. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
I've been on 3.
That's a huge
Yeah,
stat.
Yeah, I've been on
I've been
about
on 3.
3. Yeah.
Been on Freak just yeah.
3,
I feel,
yeah.
Yeah, I've only been on about
I feel
3.
like a veteran, you know, like a stag veteran. I don't know, like it's just.
Well, you brought this. Are you? What's happening?
What do you?
Is it? Are you about to tell us that we're going on your stag?
I was
do?
just about to say, this is a bit random topic.
happening?
Yeah. What's your point here? I don't
It'll
understand.
be you before me, Mike. Just saying, but like, no, it's just weird. Like, I feel like a veteran. Like, it feels like there's too many. You know, like I don't know. Maybe I'm like the old guy in the club.
No, see, I
told
tend
you, you look old.
I tend to pick and choose only important people to go on stags with because they're usually quite taxing, and I'd usually need 3 or 4 days afterwards to recover. So I don't.
Taxing.
I only usually like if it's a good mate or it's a close friend, then I'll go. But if it's just like my mate at work, I probably wouldn't bother going.
But so you'll come on mine though. Yeah. Well, if
I'll go on yours,
when it
yeah.
happens, maybe one
Yeah,
day.
of course, of
10
course.
years or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. Of course.
Anyway, sidetrack. Go on, Nav. Yeah.
That's
I'm
cool,
not
man.
coming.
I was yeah.
Oh, nothing.
It's funny actually because my mate recently got engaged and he's doing his stag next March and then it's in Marbella and I was thinking I might do that carbs before Mars.
Carbs before
Yeah, is that what it's
carbs
called?
before
I know,
Mars.
yeah.
Yeah, cars before Mavs.
It just occurred to me when you said that. So what's going on with football? What's going on with
Yeah,
Arsenal?
what is going on at the
We
moment?
don't.
Hang on, are we allowed to talk about Arsenal?
Yeah, I know.
Are
Someone
people
gets
gonna
very
get
sensitive. Yeah.
Well, like I get.
Did we get any feedback from that episode? That was
I
hilarious.
get sensitive when like I suppose out of the when Jazz
I
is,
feel like I'm being
when
Yeah.
Jazz is here, there's 3 people. Shane's like not including this. So there's us. There's like the veteran clubs, like mutual respect for each other.
The veteran
These like
that's all in your head, Ed.
These upstart clubs.
You're so deluded.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we made the Premier League. Like just saying.
Yeah.
Like, so they're,
I'd agree with that. My best times was
Yeah.
the rivalry with Arsenal. I
yeah,
would
it's the
agree
most
with that,
meaningful
yeah.
kind of what. And then before it blew out of proportion with like Russian billionaires and
Yeah,
Middle Eastern
whatever.
billionaires and whatever. But anyway,
Well, I mean, you're like this then. I mean, it's an interesting one with Chelsea because I do feel this is a really sort of. I wouldn't even say transitional point because we're always in transition.
You're always in
But I
transition,
mean,
yeah.
like it's a really sort of different time for Chelsea.
I think it's
And,
amazing, actually.
it could
Lampard
either
being
go-
appointed, I think it's amazing.
It is amazing. It could go either one. It could just go horribly wrong or
It
horribly
depends
great.
if Abramovich gives him time. I reckon he needs. He can't sack him after the end of
I
this year because there's
know.
no signings. You're not allowed any signings.
Exactly.
I think you give him the free. Just give a manager 3 years, man.
We'll
Just
see
give
if
him.
that happens. Yeah, I don't know. And
I reckon he'll come good as well.
I
if you
did
give him the
say
time.
a couple of weeks ago that I thought it would be an inspired appointment.
I hope so.
I do
I hope
think
so.
it's an
And
inspired
the only
appointment.
thing is, who else? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
First of all, we've gone through everyone, but like, who else? My mate mentioned Allegri, but I think he wants to take a year out or something.
I think you need to stop with the Italians, to be honest.
Yeah, but they've done well for us, man. I mean, Conte, Ancelotti got us a few league titles.
Conte got one, didn't he?
Yeah,
And then
Ancelotti got the
sacked
other
off.
one, yeah.
Ancelotti's an exception.
And
I
they both
don't
won
really
an FA
class
Cup.
him as
they're both
Italian.
there for
but
2 seasons.
Oh, right.
Both
Sorry?
there for 2 seasons, weren't they?
2 seasons, yeah.
Like the Ancelotti, no, Conte got you league first season
And FA
then
Cup.
Ancelotti, did he get you? Was it a double?
Yeah, the league and
What
the
did he
FA
get you in
Cup.
the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
season?
Nothing. Ancelotti got nothing in the second
really?
season. He came
Okay.
second, and then that's why he got sacked.
Okay.
But I mean, that
I
was
think
our
that's
point.
unbelievable to sack someone for
Wasn't that on
coming
the coach
second.
on the way home?
Yeah, I mean,
But sacking someone for coming second is not good, is it?
you know what it is, Shane? I've always had this discussion with. I must admit, I kind of don't get me wrong. I liked Ancelotti. Don't
I
get me
like
wrong. I just like the fact that Chelsea had such high standards that if you don't meet, you're sacked. Don't get me wrong. It's brutal. It is
Yeah.
brutal. But I think because you set those standards, you'll eventually meet those standards. It's like that expression I've always liked. You reach for the sun, you'll at least get to the moon.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? You just go for the top. I think now Chelsea, there is a real acceptance, especially in the last 2 years, that second's brilliant for us. It's
Yeah.
like top 4 is the target now, and I don't want us to drop too far in those targets.
But that's everyone's done that now. Top 4 is the target
because
now.
it's become
Yeah.
so tight, yeah. And I think with Lampard, even though he's going to have the support of all the fans and everything, I still want, if we don't get top 4, questions should be asked.
I think
No, not at all. Not in his first season because he's not had the transfer window.
No, and that's the one thing that's working actually in his favour.
I agree with Nav. I do agree with Nav a little bit there. I'm just saying not sack him, but questions should be asked because let's think about it right now. As things stand at this very moment, do you think Man United are equipped to fight for a top 4 place?
No.
As it stands now?
No.
Ed?
I'm listening.
Do you think Arsenal are equipped as it stands now to fight for a top 4 place?
Not as it stands. Well, to fight for top 4. Or
all right. To get it to break into the top 4.
We're not like City and Liverpool.
Yeah, no.
But guarantee the top 4.
As things stand right now, do you think that you're equipped to break into the top 4?
Probably not. No.
So that's what I'm saying. So as things stand right now, the top 4 next season possibly will be the top 4 that was this season. So if Chelsea don't get in the top 4, then yes, I think questions should be asked.
Yeah.
But depending on what you spend, who you buy,
but that's the point. That's the point I'm making. I don't think
will
that's
accept £5 and a
no, but that's the point that I'm
Zaha.
making. I don't think it's always the manager's fault. Like for instance, if we don't hit top 4 based on what we've done this summer, that's not Solskjaer's fault. You've not invested in the team properly.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, it makes no sense in always blaming the manager when like. Countless times I've seen it at United since Ferguson's left, where it's not the manager's fault, it's the board's fault for not making the investment. The same at Arsenal.
But I think
do you not feel they did make an investment?
In respects to Chelsea, though, it would be Lampard's fault because it's the same team that Sarri got third with.
That's
you see what I mean?
That is a good point. Yeah,
but not when everyone else is strengthening. Everyone else is
strengthening.
And also I suppose Hazard going as well.
I know, but what I'm saying, if it was to stay as it is now, because potentially Arsenal might, that Kieran Tierney is looking like a done deal, a left back, fine, okay, you need defenders, but if it stays as it is, and let's say it stays as it is with you, and it stays as it is with us, then they should be getting top 4. Absolutely, they should.
If it stays the same with everybody, but it's not. You've already invested. We've invested.
And Chelsea have, as Nav said, have already
Chelsea
lost
haven't
Hazard
invested.
as well.
Arsenal haven't invested. So
technically, they've got Pulisic, didn't they? Who was basically as if they've just signed him.
Yeah,
so,
it is,
there's one, but I mean,
he's a step down from Hazard, though.
Yeah, of course.
That's it.
Of course.
You don't know. He might not be. I mean, he's young. You don't know.
No, I don't. I think questions.
Did you watch much German
No, he
league?
got displaced by Sancho, isn't it? Well, Sancho's like...
Sancho displaced Pulisic, but no, my point is that questions always should be asked if you're not meeting the goals. But the question isn't whether the manager's good enough. The question should be asked as a club as a whole. And I think this is the problem that happens at Man United is that we keep asking the wrong questions. Oh, it's the manager. We get another manager in. But you give that manager no investment, or he already Solskjaer.
Do you not feel Mourinho got investment?
Mourinho did. Mourinho Mourinho should have got sacked.
You agree with me? Yeah.
I don't dispute that, and I reckon the other managers actually, Moyes and Van Gaal, should have got sacked because the money that was spent for them was incredible.
Yeah.
But already Solskjaer's I'm starting to hear the rhetoric come out of his mouth. Oh, we're doing all right at the moment. I need to bring in 1 or 2 more, which
really
says to me that the board are blocking him. Because we've got countless funds. It's not, we've got countless funds. We can buy these individuals, but Ed Woodward, being the businessman that he is, he's trying to get everything for a quid, which doesn't fucking work.
You reckon?
No, so I think he tries to be, but the problem is that everyone knows we're rich. That is the problem. Everyone knows we're rich. But he doesn't. He divvies as well. Like on, for instance, that Wan-Bissaka deal. Apparently, we're working on it since May. How the fuck did it take so long to get it over the line? Penny pinching. Apparently, we went in with 20 million or something, and then said we'll pay 15 million in add-ons. Come on, then who's going to sell it for? There's no point in even going in that low.
It sounds like Levy.
He does it,
and see, this is the one good thing now about this summer, which I feel is Pochettino has obviously said to him that. How do you pronounce it? Ndombele. Pochettino has obviously said to him, he's my number 1 target.
He's a great
signing.
signing.
Levy's gone in and paid the money.
Away,
we want X amount, so whatever, we want this amount up front and we want that in add-ons and blah, blah, blah. So the total figure is 75 million euros and Levy's gone, all right, fine.
He's a great signing.
I
think he's an inspired signing.
You get the young ones, I can't remember their names. The young Fulham,
Ryan and Steven Sessegnon.
Ryan and Sessegnon. They're looking at Lo Celso. And who else are you looking at? Lo Celso,
Ceballos, Danny,
Ceballos.
The Real Madrid.
Ceballos,
they're all young. They're like all of them. They're all under 24. So,
I mean,
I can see what he's doing.
Our targets at the moment.
doing quite younger players.
He's looking for young British players, but at the moment, I think we've got Harry Maguire's and Bruno Fernandes are the next ones on the list.
I thought Maguire's going to go City. Is that
No, apparently City have come out because they can't compete with us in terms of funds. So
because they've just spent that. See, the one thing with City, although they do spend a lot of money, but they have that
cap.
That cap thing.
They won't go above
player.
70 million. They don't go above 70 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And actually, that's on the flip of that, on the Chelsea side, like people would always say Chelsea pay so much money. They pay higher transfer fees, but the wage is actually quite low. Like Hazard was, I didn't realise, but it was only on 180.
Yeah.
Which I know that's a lot of money, but compared to
No, it's not, considering fucking
400.
Rashford has just signed a 250. Was it 250 grand?
And Sanchez is still on 450 or
That's
something.
crazy,
So.
isn't it?
Sanchez,
that's
I think
crazy.
Sanchez should be released on a free. I do.
Yeah,
I just
pay him out,
off
get rid of
and
him.
get rid of
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Because
he's ruining.
free, really. So it's not even.
Yeah, but he's ruining the wage structure as well. So just pay him off and get rid of him.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the way the season's going, I think hopefully it's just one of those things. It's what you mentioned about Jody Morris as well. I think Chelsea have always had this really good youth sort of setup, and it's just
And never
we need
used
that
them.
exactly. And I think this could be the trigger to bring them up. And I think Lampard's got that rep, and with Cech coming back as well. It's one of those things I'm just hopeful for. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to happen, and it could just go really
Isn't he
tits
getting
up.
Makaleli in as well?
Oh, really?
I read
didn't
that.
know about. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Which is,
Trying
I
to do
mean,
like an Ajax setup, bringing all the.
yeah.
The old boys, yeah. I mean, why not? You
That's
bring
what
in the most
United are
successful
doing. We've brought in
setup.
Quinton Fortune now for the
Yeah, I heard
for
about
the
that.
reserves.
Yeah.
We seem to be putting all of the old United boys in everywhere. Under 21s.
Yeah, head of the.
So we've got Neil. Is it Neil Wood? I think we've got Neil Wood and Quinton Fortune as the two coaches for the under 21s.
Neil Wood, was he a player?
He was a youth player but didn't make
Ah,
it.
okay.
But yeah, so we've got him in there now.
Yeah, because Ajax who did they get? Van der Sar, Overmars, Bergkamp.
Yeah.
And the last I heard about the director of football position at United is that they want to give it to a panel of ex-players. So it's going to be like, I don't know what they're doing. But they want to get in like Ferdinand, Darren Fletcher and someone else, and it's going to be like a panel of technical directors or something like that.
What a ledge.
Ferdinand would be great. You see like people like Jadon Sancho snapped, he'd be coming in straight away. He knows their family and shit. Like, he knows.
Roy Keane should have a job there.
I would love that.
100% he should.
No, the club don't. The club are falling out with Roy Keane. Roy Keane doesn't like half the staff there. He can't get him in. You can't. It's just not doable. It's not doable. He doesn't like.
He'd sort that dressing room
He
right
doesn't
out,
like Bobby
wouldn't he?
Charlton. He doesn't like Ferguson. They're directors. He can't.
Yeah, don't like Bobby Charlton's not going to happen, really, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to
Bobby
happen.
Charlton
They're
should be
not.
at the FA, I think, rather than United.
Bobby Charlton's amazing.
Yeah,
man.
he's like an England legend. Like,
Yeah.
Rooney's the top scorer now, but it was Bobby Charlton.
Yeah, he's second. I think Bobby Charlton's
He should be at
second.
the
Yeah.
FA rather than United.
He should be. He should be.
But anyway, like.
But
So, what's
doing
your thoughts, Eds, in terms of like Arsenal's
Wait,
chances for the
before-
league?
Advisory board.
Before we, like, what do you think of Pogba? Before we tackle Arsenal,
Oh,
what do you
yeah.
think of Pogba?
I want him to go now. Not because I don't like him as a player. I love him as a player. I just think that the way that things have gone, the way that the fans treated him at the end of the season, what he's come out and said in the media, I don't think his position is tenable anymore. So he needs to go. I think we need to sell him as quickly as possible, get the money in, and reinvest in the squad.
Heard like, was it 90 million and Bell or Isco or something like that?
Yeah,
That sounds
which
like
I don't
for
know.
Isco.
I don't know.
Take
Yeah,
Isco.
Isco's
Nah.
a good deal.
150 million, and we'll go for other targets. I don't want Isco. We don't need those number 10
You
positions.
just lost Herrera, yeah. So
We don't play. Yeah, but Herrera's a box to box. We don't play with
Isn't
number
Isco
10s.
not box to box as well? Or?
No, he's a number 10.
Well,
We don't play with number 10s. We don't play with number 10s. There's
You don't
no-
like Bale?
No, I wouldn't want Bale in. I'd get
love
Bale in.
Bale at
I'd
Chelsea.
get Bale in on loan.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't
I
want him
don't
there
like Bale
permanently.
anymore.
You're kidding me.
I don't like
I'm
him.
not. I'm
still
not.
amazing.
I'm
All
not.
this stuff
Yeah,
that's
I'm
come
not-
out
I'm not
recently, like he just got married the other day, didn't he? And he
Oh.
refused to invite any of the Real Madrid squad.
Yeah.
Not one of them got invited.
Okay.
I think
And
they've
only a
been.
select few of the Wales team got invited.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, he's
and
very
I-
clicky.
I
He's
don't-
very clicky.
You know, all of that where he's not bothered to learn Spanish the whole time he's been there, which is fine. All right, that's not a massive issue. And then just this whole thing about, well, I don't want to leave, so if you're going to sell me, you either have to pay me X amount of
It's
millions
almost
of
like
pounds,
he's given up on being a
or
footballer.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I'll
I
just
think-
just live in Spain and play golf.
If we
for
brought
4
in
years.
Bale, I think Bale would be the Welsh Sanchez. If we brought him in, that's exactly what would happen. He'd be the Welsh Sanchez. He won't be able to cut it, and he'll get injured all the time, and he'll play shit, and we'll be paying him a fortune. I think he's on like nearly $500,000.
Yeah. He's on something amazing. Yeah.
There's no way I'd want him at United,
Oh, fair enough.
and not Isco either, because of the way we play. Not because I don't like him as a player, but just the way that we set up. It's like Mata. There's no number 10 position, so we put him out wide, and that's why Mata's rubbish for us. And it would be the same with Isco.
Wouldn't you be open to changing the way you play?
He doesn't want to play like that. That's not how Solskjaer wants to play.
How does he play then?
Solskjaer wants to
4-4-2,
play.
isn't it?
He wants to play with
So
4
that-
at the back, defensive CDM, 2 midfielders, 1 pushing up, and 1 box.
So
to box.
4-3-3, effectively.
4-3, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, fair
4-3-3. Yeah.
Because
No
I thought you kind of
diamond.
wanted to do what Ferguson did, basically, but yeah.
No, he wants to play the 4-3-3. He does switch up to a diamond occasionally
Yeah,
with
that's what I was
Jesse
thinking.
Lingard at the top or
man,
Matter
I
at the
hate
top.
that formation.
But it doesn't work. It doesn't
I
work.
hate
It doesn't
that
work for us.
You just lose too much in midfield
Yeah.
now. It's all about the midfield
It
nowadays.
is.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want Isco for that reason. It would be
Mm.
trying to put a what's the saying?
A
Square
round peg
peg
in a
in a
square
round
hole.
hole,
So,
yeah,
that one,
Or
yeah.
the other way around. Sorry, that's the other way.
But yeah, I don't
different
I
shaped
don't want
peg
him.
for a different shaped hole.
yeah.
But yeah, so no, I don't want him. I think the targets that we need to be going for at the moment is Bruno Fernandes, which I think is pretty much done.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Yeah, I think that's pretty much done. Bruno Fernandes, Maguire, or a decent centre back. My preference would have been Koulibaly, but if Maguire
Dilic.
comes in, if
man.
Maguire comes
Gone
in, I
to
don't mind.
Juve already, isn't
But
it?
he hasn't
Oh,
yet.
really?
No, he's not.
He hasn't. They reckon.
If these rumours are true that we've got,
yeah.
I think we've got a deal agreed for him, and so has Paris. And he wants to go to Juventus, but they can't agree a fee.
Because Juventus
So-
apparently have offered 40 million.
Yeah,
Have they already bought someone Juve like big?
they've bought quite a lot.
No, but they haven't bought.
They've got people on a free, so they've got Ramsey and they've got Rabiot.
don't-
Rabiot's gone in.
don't-
Yeah,
don't,
Ramsey.
like-
I thought you were cool with Ramsey going.
Classic bit of business.
until I saw him in the Juve shirt.
Yeah. So so I think we need Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, another midfielder, and potentially a right winger as well. I think we're crying out for a right winger, but who? I don't know. Nicolas Pepe would be my choice, but it's difficult. No, on loan. I'll take him on loan because I wouldn't want the financial outlay to have someone who's potentially injury prone.
I do
all the
feel
time,
he
but-
would come back to the Premier League and rip it up.
I think so. That's
Possibly.
why I would have
But
loved
that's
him in
why he
Chelsea.
will.
But it's
I
all
think he
thinking,
would.
isn't it? Which is why I'll take him
Yeah.
on loan in a heartbeat. I'll take him on loan, but
I actually thought
wouldn't
that's
buy
what
him.
Chelsea would do with the Hazard deal. I was kind of hoping that Bale might be part of the deal, but
Mm.
obviously not. It's done now. But yeah, I still like him. But you guys make good points about his whole attitude and injuries.
His
He always
injury
has
records,
injuries.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. He's gone to Spain and he's won,
Four Champions
He's
Leagues.
won
Yeah.
more
He's won
Champions
everything.
Leagues than a lot of clubs will ever win in their lives.
Exactly.
Ever.
He's won
And,
everything.
Yeah, he's won. They won
The
La
league.
Liga while
Yeah,
he's
a few
been there,
times,
and
yeah,
they've
yeah.
won the Copa del Rey.
Yeah, they've done it.
the
He's done it
Super
all.
Cup.
Yeah, yeah.
So why not? Forget the money, man. Like, he hasn't made enough money. Just go somewhere. Come back to Tottenham.
That's the point.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. Yeah.
No, but why not?
Yeah.
Why
do
not
that.
go back to
Yeah.
Tottenham and think
I was-
I could possibly be the one
Yeah.
that pushes it on?
I've got a soft spot that Hazard will come back and save us in a few years.
No, it's a dream. It's a pipe dream. I
Yeah.
thought Ronaldo would do the same. Pipe
Yeah,
dream.
true,
It's a pipe
true.
dream.
Ronaldo's
Yeah.
going to end up in America.
Yeah, he'll end
Yeah,
up in
yeah,
Miami
MLS.
or
It's a
something
pipe
like
dream.
that.
Yeah.
All of those top players will end up in MLS.
Yeah,
All of them
yeah.
will, because you get big money out.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them
why
for playing
wouldn't you? Yeah,
a
I
low
agree,
standard
I
of
agree.
It's
football.
like everyone's wet
Yeah.
their knickers because Rooney scored from in his own
The
half the other
halfway
day. But
line,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Rubbish,
like
it's-
fucking Conference League
Yeah,
standard.
it is. It's not.
Dare I say it's like women's football?
So right, let's move on to Arsenal and your transfer targets, because to be quite honest,
Yes.
I haven't heard a lot of news from Arsenal.
Here we
so
fucking
we
go.
know about Zaha, but who else is on, and Tierney as well. So who else you got?
Haven't
on
they?
the cards?
No, you did sign
It's
someone,
sound
didn't
like a
you?
young Brazilian, like I'm sure.
Oh yeah, was he
Oh,
like
yeah,
19?
yeah, yeah.
Maybe
19?
Yeah, 19 or
Eighteen,
even
19?
17,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah.
No, you can't. You
Gabriella
can't have
Martinelli or
You
something
can't
like
bring
that.
in. You can't bring in
That
17-year-olds.
household name.
You're not.
Oh
allowed
yeah, that
to-
guy. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not allowed
I've
to
got
bring
I've got his poster.
Hang on, guys. Hang on, guys. He must be.
was in a household name before
He must be. He must be
Stop living in the
18.
past, man.
Move on.
Hang on. He has to at least be 18 because you're not allowed
No,
to
you
sign.
might be right then.
Yeah, you're not allowed to
18 or
sign less
19,
than 18. Yeah, from non-EU
Well,
countries.
yeah, I suppose what we do is we build players up and then.
Do you though?
Well, yeah, we
You used to. You used to. You did used to. I'll give you that, but
20
not
years
so much
ago?
these days.
Well, it's more than you've done.
Two decades ago, right? Yeah, seriously.
Anyway, so anyway,
wow.
yeah. To be honest, I'm more worried about who's going to stay. To be honest, and like Kieran Tierney sounds like a good player. Like, I
Great
think-
signing.
I
Great
think
signing.
Celtic in particular, like they've produced a lot of like top players. Like it's in like Van Dijk, for instance. I say top players. I was going to say Wanyama. He's not top, but he is a good player.
Larson as
He
well.
was.
Yeah, no, I think he's alright. I think he's alright.
He
Yeah.
had a lot of injuries last season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had a lot of injuries,
So
so,
he is
and that's
he
why
is
I think
good.
we're going to sell him.
Yeah.
But
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
But when Wanyama was at Southampton, he was
Yeah,
great.
He was good, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was
Van
alright.
Dijk, and then
Yeah,
Kieran
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I think we needed.
Tierney's a
someone,
great. He's a great
He's a good
signing.
player.
Like,
He's a
since
great signing.
Cole, like Yeah, don't look at me now. Since Cole,
Ashley Cole,
we
yeah.
haven't really replaced him with anyone.
To be quite honest, I'd love to sign Tierney as well because that sorts out our fullback positions on both sides. I would love
Don't
that.
you have, what's his name, Luke Shaw?
Sure, yeah, but who else? That's it. There's no other left-footed left back.
Yeah, true.
He was, which I think was a fucking horrendous decision.
Hey, yeah, that's.
But yeah, no, we've got no one else who competes with Shaw.
Yeah, like I think
Do you think Aubameyang's gonna go?
I heard we might need to sell him to raise money for Zaha.
I also heard that he was made
Really?
a promise. I heard that he was made a promise that they would sell him.
I haven't heard that actually.
I think
I saw
he is
a
going to go, and I
rumour.
think it is because I heard there's a guy who I work with, and he is. I don't believe all this shit, you know, the ITK thing, in the know and all that rubbish. Yeah, I don't
hate
do
all
you know
that
those
crap, yeah.
dickheads on Twitter, but I don't necessarily believe that stuff. But he is good friends with David Dean's, something to do with David Dean, apparently.
David
I
Dean's
didn't believe.
brother twice removed.
Well, yeah. But see, I didn't believe all that. I didn't believe it all. But he, over the last couple of years, months beforehand, has told me things in passing, you know, when we've been in the mess room together or whatever, and everything's happened. The Adidas kit deal, Aubameyang signing, and likewise saying that Aubameyang is pretty much going and Zaha is done, pretty much. It's the done and dusted deal. So, and this was weeks and weeks and weeks ago, before anyone even mentioned about Aubameyang going. Before that even got out in the news, that's what he said, that Aubameyang was being sold to make way for Zaha. And also that Barcelona were trying to get Lacazette, but that's been binned because of Aubameyang going.
So what do you think? Do you think that's a good Aubameyang going, then Zaha coming? Would you like that?
I'd rather both of them still Arsenal, but
Well, yeah.
Who do you prefer out of those two?
so Lacazette and Aubameyang were awesome together. Zaha,
Yeah.
it was
I don't
just-
know about awesome, but
Hey, look.
no, sorry, no, I didn't mean to be a dick, but no,
You can
awesome's a
be
bit
you
far.
now. You can be you.
No, come on, man, I wasn't
You can
being
be you, Chelsea, scummy.
awesome though. Come on, they weren't awesome.
To be quite honest, I think Lacazette has more about him than
I like him, but
I think he's got more in his locker than Aubameyang has.
yeah, I like Lacazette. No, but sorry, but then
And he's
yeah,
older, isn't he? Aubameyang's older than Lacazette, yeah.
Yeah, like I suppose.
It makes sense for Aubameyang to be going
Yeah, it
rather
does.
than
I can
Lacazette.
see that, but I just don't. I'd rather we didn't have to, because it's not for like playing style. It's more for financial reasons, and I'd rather we weren't in that position when we had to let like our top scorer go.
Would you not? Yeah, but would you not rather reinvest? You personally, would you not rather reinvest in defenders?
Yeah, Kieran Tierney. But I think, to be honest, I feel Rob Holding was like when we in the beginning of last season, we had quite a strong defence before he got injured, and then
you didn't actually concede many in
and then
the
he got
first
injured,
10
and then
games.
it all kind of fell apart, you know. So
Yeah.
like even without,
Because there was talking about Koscielny going to Lyon.
yeah, I think he
and
wants. I think I'm not sure if it was Lyon. It might be another team I read, but I think he wants to go back to a team that maybe he started with or has a close
in
connection.
France.
with.
He wants to go back to France.
To be
yeah.
quite honest,
We
you
want
need
to
to you need
fee
to
for him, but he wants to go for free.
you need to bring the age down of your defence anyway.
Yeah.
It's quite an aging
Yeah.
defence.
Yeah, because
You
what's
need to bring the age
Socrates?
down.
He's 30
Yeah,
plus, isn't he?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
Socrates, like Holden, like Mavropanos, who was also injured as well. But the season, like Wenger's last season, when he came in towards the end, he looked very good as well.
Yeah.
But and someone maybe one or two more of a high standard as well. Like
And Torreira, what do you reckon about him then?
I think
AC Milan.
that's like I heard stories that he doesn't like.
Why would he want to go
but he
already?
doesn't like
Because
England or London.
Yeah,
or
that's
like
what I
that.
see.
Oh,
I
yeah.
read
I think
that
they
he doesn't.
usually
He doesn't like the food. Doesn't like the weather. So, and he basically just
Cook your own.
Well, but he basically loves Italy. Is what the thing is, I think. So
Because Milan are in for him. Or
AC.
But I think
apparently.
they've been kicked
Is he
out
good
of.
at- they've been binned out of
so
Europe,
I don't
yeah,
think-
out of Europe.
it'll be a backward step anyway, in my view. Like given where we are at the moment, but yeah.
Nah,
It's-
let's
it
have a
is-
little
yeah,
think
yeah.
about that.
it is a tough one. It's a tough transfer window. as well.
Anti-Arsenal bias, yeah. Again,
Oh,
like Shane, you got this mutual respect. Like, so you got my back in that. Well, yes, you haven't got my back, but you haven't attacking my back, which is.
I don't
Yeah.
attack. No.
I don't feel like I've attacked anybody.
yeah, I'm just come on. I'm just making observations.
Fuck both of you.
But I mean, is there anyone from the inside? I say the inside, but being an Arsenal fan, obviously you follow Arsenal news and whatever. Is there anybody else in the pipeline? Anybody else been spoken about?
Yeah, there's
or-
been a few, not like top players, like no, like Zaha is probably the biggest player we've been spoken with, but there's been a few like like quality players from around Europe who we've been linked with. I think some 26 million deal for player's name I forget, but I think a midfielder as well. So like we'll see how it goes, but I think I'm just more worried about losing Aubameyang, to be honest. I don't really. I even heard to United, which I really don't
Don't worry, that's not happening.
Yeah, I can't see
never
that
know,
happening.
right? You never know.
No, we're not in for a striker.
Well,
We've got three already on the book.
You might sell Lukaku.
Yeah,
That's 4 in the book. So Lukaku goes. We've still got Rashford, Greenwood, who's now stepped up into the first team, and Martial.
Is Martial's a main striker?
He's a striker. He is actually a striker.
Rashford as your main strikers, then,
Yeah.
And you reckon that's enough for you for what
Well,
you
there's
want?
only and Greenwood. So there's only one position there, but there's 3 players for it.
But I mean,
so.
like Lukaku, he's good or not, he's kind of there as your proven striker. So, like, if you let him go, you'd probably want another proven striker.
No, I don't think so, because he chose Rashford over Lukaku last season anyway.
He does like Rashford.
He likes Rashford.
I don't feel like that Aubameyang thing's so far-fetched, though.
No, I don't think we're in for a striker. Definitely not. And Martial is actually going to be used as I said to you, he's got the highest conversion rate in the league.
Who does, bro?
Martial's got the highest conversion rate in the league because he should be playing as a striker.
Did
That's
he sign
that's
that
what we
deal?
signed him
He
as.
signed-
We
I like
signed
it.
him as.
Signed
Yeah,
him
he
a deal,
signed.
okay.
Yeah.
I do like
We signed him.
Martial.
I like him as
He's
well.
good
We signed him
player.
as a striker. So I think Solskjaer kind of sees that he's a striker because he was the one that was talking about his conversion rate, saying it's the best in the league. So I think he's going to push him up front to where he should be.
It's always that thing where like teams buy like a young attacking player and they never play him as a striker. He's put him to the wing.
No, they always, because apparently you learn your trade on the wing. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
But apparently that's what
kind of
happens. You
with
learn your
Henry,
trade
maybe
on the
that
wing.
was like maybe people saw him because he was he played on the wing in Italy before coming to Arsenal as a striker.
Yeah, and then you move him up
maybe
to the
that kind
top.
of like set that as well.
And saying that, though, he did always used to pull out there as well.
drift in.
He used to go out that way.
Yeah, come back in. So,
I think that's where they get their education because all of our strikers in our team now have started on the left or the right or played both, and then they start getting pushed
like
up.
learn running
so.
through the channels or that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to
Cool.
finish on like a down there, I just don't know. Like I'll just see how the weeks go.
Well,
No, that's fair.
We've got till the 8th
And same
of
with
August.
Chelsea, I mean,
we've got to the 8th of
yeah.
August to see what the teams are going to be.
Exactly,
for the
yeah. It's
season.
just
So,
too early to say at the
Like
moment.
if we say a mood around our clubs, like maybe start with like Shane and end of Mike. Like, what would you say the mood is?
So I would say at the beginning of the transfer window, the mood was really high because there was talk of the investment, getting rid of the deadwood. Now that we're getting closer to, well, it's only a month now before the transfer window closes, the mood in the United community is pretty much we're not going to get anyone else in because of the negotiations, the negotiators in the board at board level. So Ed Woodward and I can't remember the other guy's name, but yeah, they reckon that we're not going to get the deals done because they go in and they penny pinch basically and bid too low and then we lose out. So it's not great at the moment.
For me, like, yeah, I just don't know. I think my mood is not. Stop looking at me, Mike. Fucking like Tottenham. Yeah, that's my mood basically. That sums up my mood.
It's my mood as well, Ed. I'm with you on that one.
I'm on edge. Like, yeah.
I'm with you on that one. I just don't see it's not great at the moment.
I think my mood's hopeful, but
Is it because of Lampard? You're hopeful?
yeah, I think Lampard has brought the vibe up, but I think there's also that sense of worry. And you know, what I mean, it could all just go really horribly wrong,
Have
and you
you
don't.
been linked with anyone? Like, because
We can't be because of the
actually
transfer
enforced, so you're
ban.
not gonna.
Yeah.
We can't until the yeah.
It's basically a write-off. They're not gonna even if the ban gets lifted. I don't think you'll do. You've not got enough time.
I agree. I think actually Chelsea are going to take the ban. God, all right.
Wait.
It's only one. It's only one window. Though.
Yeah,
It's only one window though, isn't it?
No, two.
Oh, so you wouldn't be able to buy in
No, not in January
It's a
neither.
lot
Yeah.
better now, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
But I've been hearing some good things about your transfer ban, though. Hasn't Hudson-Odoi considering a new contract now, and so
He's
is
pretty much signed
So Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Loftus-Cheek
he
signed a new
signed,
contract,
yeah.
and
Turned
I
down
think
another bid
yeah.
from Bayern.
Bayern, yeah. Because we that makes sense. Obviously, we're not going to sell during this window. Well, I say obviously.
I think that's
Hazard's
one
gone,
good
but-
thing that Lampard
yeah.
will do is he'll sign those young English players down
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
contracts.
So is that hopeful mood?
I think
But,
he'll use them as well, and like Chelsea have got one of the best youth systems
Yeah.
and uses none of them. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
So
Lampard
fingers
can
crossed.
turn that round,
Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't know, but yeah, go on, Mike.
I'm optimistic. I am. I feel in a good place. I actually do, because firstly we went 500 and X amount of days without signing a player, and then we got 2 at once, which was a bonus.
What's that Leeds
You know,
guy? What's his name?
that Jack Clark. Yeah, apparently there's a guy at work who's a Leeds fan, and he reckons he's really really good player. He's only 18 and he's gone back there for a year, a bit like Dele Alli did. Although his was only 6 months because we got him in the January.
Oh, you've loaned him back.
Yeah,
signed
so he's
him
gone
back.
back to
position is he
Leeds.
playing?
He's a winger either side, left or right. And that Ndombele.
Yeah, and Ndombele, he's
Ndombele,
great.
him.
Yeah.
Which everyone first off said that he was going to be the Dembele replacement, but I don't think he is.
He's box to box.
He's more of a like a box to box. Although I didn't watch a lot of French football, so
I've seen him play. I think he's amazing. I think he's amazing.
He's supposed to be the big upcoming.
He's only 22
French,
as well. He's
football.
brilliant. I like him.
And then if that Dani Ceballos from Real Madrid comes in, and personally I'd sell Eriksen either or. I'd sell him because I don't think he wants to play for Spurs anymore, which is fine. You know, you only get half a season out of him anyway, which is why he's ideal for Spain. Because, you know, Real Madrid, what have they got, like 3 tough games a season?
Exactly, yeah.
So, and then get that Lo Celso, or whatever his name is.
Celso,
I'm optimistic. I mean, if the transfer window was to shut now, I'd be quite chuffed, to be honest.
I'm glad we got Wan-Bissaka, and I'm glad that we got that Daniel James, because he's fucking quick. Have you seen him? Jeez, he's rapid.
Yeah. Really good.
He's rapid.
And because they reckon now that Alderweireld as well is
he'll stay.
Is going to stay, and they apparently he's going to Ajax on a free at the end of his contract. Yeah, because he'll be 33 then, and I think he wants to finish there, which is fair enough.
Yeah, fair play.
Oh, he's got 2 dodgy hamstrings now anyway, wrong side of 30. So yeah, if the transfer window was to shut now, I'd be chuffed, to be honest.
So happy.
Thanks, mate.
I think we're all happy.
Thanks, mate. I think
I'm happy for Tottenham. I'm not happy for United. I still think we need 3 signings to actually compete for top 4. If we get 3 signings,
I've not said one word,
top 4.
not one derogatory word about Arsenal, not once. This whole thing, I've not said one thing. And you're screwing me right
sure,
out.
Like, it's recorded, so we'll
record it.
We'll look back. Yeah, we'll listen back.
Absolutely, yeah, listen back. Yeah, I feel like most of the sass has come from Nav.
Whoops.
To be honest.
Ed, could you pass me that?
Cool. All right, and we're done.
Cool.
Yeah, so done for another week. So
Done for another
catch
week.
you soon.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys on
We'll
the flip
try
side.
to be more regular. Anyway, but catch you later.
Yeah, Ed.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll try not to go under some stags or whatever. Right, cool. Later.
See you guys.
See ya.